Hello.
Hello. Hello, hello. Just let me switch to the interview scene.
That character's shtick is just that he's constipated all the time.
Okay, now it's working, I guess.
Hey, look at that.
Oh, great. All the technical stuff with Discord and so on. It's a nightmare. Okay. All right, guys. Hello, and thank you for joining.
Thanks for having us.
No problem.
All right.
One moment, just texting my dad on Facebook. 2 seconds, just a regular stream.
Take your time. Take your time. I'm gonna take a zip and then.
All right, I am good now.
Take a zoop.
All right.
Zoop. All right, I am focused. Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's get the introductions. So thanks again for taking your time out of your day and joining us here on my channel. Yeah. So we have the German Satisfactory community here, and they are all very psyched. And they had a lot of questions for you guys.
I bet they did.
Yeah, but I guess it's and I'm really sorry if you have to repeat yourself over the dev streams over and over again. I know some questions are really repeating themselves, but nevertheless. So congratulations to update 5. It's an awesome thing. And huge, it's from my point of view, huge success. Really nice things in there. The design elements also. Engine upgrades, DirectX 12, really nice. So great work.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much. Glad to hear it. Thanks for the kind words. We did.
Yeah, sure. I guess.
And you know, just gonna say it's no biggie if we end up repeating questions. You know, not everyone is watching every stream we do. You know, so some people might hear the same answers, but there might be a lot of other people who are hearing it for the first time. So like, happy to help.
Yes,
that's good to hear.
What Jace said.
So all right. So regarding update 5, guys. So how much work was it?
How much work?
I didn't do shit.
Yeah, I did nothing. We don't even make videos. Yeah, it was a lot of work. Update 5 wasn't originally supposed to be like that big. It was supposed to be like a smaller update, and then the schedule moved around, and just all right, let's do this thing, and then gotta work on this thing, and then update 5 just turned out to be huge.
Yeah, it was kind of this thing where, you know, we thought I think my understanding of it was that like we had. We're like, it'll just be a couple of these things, but like as we started adding those features in, we started realizing, yeah, but this kind of needs this to make sense, or this needs this to make sense, and then things seem to sort of balloon a little bit, because it's sort of important that like whenever you add stuff to a game, you sort of justify its existence being there, and sometimes that requires other things to be added as well. So like the customizer, an example of that is something that like it wasn't really designed to be that way, but it sort of ballooned up into what it is, just so that everything sort of made sense in the end.
Yeah, and that's a good point too, because the update 5 was supposed to also be somewhat of a bridge for the next coming work that we're going to do, because there are a bunch of systems in the game that we kind of needed to rework and like make them better for the additions that we want to do later down the line. So we would need like a window of, okay, maybe you guys won't see like a lot of new features, but we need to do like a lot of stuff before we can do that. And then update 5 was supposed to be just like, all right, we have these features we can put in the game, and while we do all the work in the back end, we can also put in these things and make it, you know, good for everyone.
Yeah, for the longest time, we were literally calling it update 4.5 as well.
Yeah.
You know, like that's kind of what it was. Yeah, yeah, it wasn't supposed to, like, you know, after update 4, our vision of what update 5 was supposed to be was not supposed to be like this major update, but it kind of just grew into it anyway. And it's very clear that it is a pretty major update, actually, at this point. But yeah, the original plans, that wasn't the case.
Oh, okay, I see. Regarding this 4.5 update, I got the feeling that you changed a lot under the hood. Of course, the engine upgrade, right? And also all the systems you touched, like the train system, the vehicle system in general, and so on. Was this work needed to be done for the dedicated servers to work properly, or did the dedicated servers nothing to do with the update of the existing systems?
Yeah, no, the dedicated server didn't really have anything to do with that. Like, obviously, we needed to do work on dedicated server stuff and like the bugs that exist that make dedicated servers like not really usable. But no, for the majority, the stuff that we worked on were really for like the next work and like working towards 1.0, really.
Okay, yeah. All right. The dedicated servers, by the way, I'm very surprised they are really stable, apart from a few bugs, but this is experimental, right? But
So are we.
Actually,
Yeah, I mean, because it was always, or you told us often that dedicated servers is such a huge deal for you because the game wasn't originally conceived as a multiplayer or something. So you had to touch around or change a lot of systems under the hood to make it work for dedicated servers. Is that about right?
No, I think the game has always been multiplayer featured. Right, Jace? Or
yeah. No, it has always been like even in the early prototype. Am I remembering this correctly? No way, maybe that's not true. I was going to say in the early prototype before the current Satisfactory, it was multiplayer, but that might actually not be true. I'm not sure. But as far as I can remember, it was always intended to be like a 1 to 4 players kind of situation.
I
but
see, okay.
we hadn't done like the dedicated server work beforehand, and that still needed to be done. And yeah, we had someone, we put someone on that task, and they like almost single-handedly got the dedicated server support going. Of course, other people had to get involved for various other things as well. But as that sort of caught up into as the dedicated server supports caught up, we realized, okay, well, this is actually, we could probably start pushing this, even though it's a little early, but it's probably better to just put it out like this now.
Okay, all right. Okay, then I was wrong there, but yeah, like I said, dedicated servers, huge deal for us too. We tested it out with, I guess, 9 people on it, and it was all right. It was stable. And yeah, really good.
Yeah.
And
that's great. That's great to hear.
yeah.
Yeah, it is really good. Like, even though it's like an experimental feature, it's really great to hear, that we've gotten some pretty good feedback from it. For the most part, a lot of people who, if they could get them running or whatever, they had mostly not really that much issues with it. And that's really, really good to hear because it's been a highly requested feature and it's a cool feature.
Yeah.
And it's glad that people are enjoying it. So I'm glad that people are enjoying it, rather.
because I think that the option to have a multiplayer, to work with friends on a huge factory is really something, right? It really adds a lot to the game from my point of view. So
yeah, for sure.
Great. So guys, I have a list of questions. Let's just start with some light questions. So
my body is ready.
Your body's ready. So Snutt, what is your favorite meal, spaghetti or coleslaw?
Out of those two, I'd probably pick spaghetti. Coleslaw is nice with like burgers sometimes, but
yeah,
my man loves his carbs.
Yeah,
gotta get grown boy.
So okay, spaghetti it is. So Jace, and I'm not making the question. So just to make it clear, why are you so drunk at work?
Yeah, nice. Yeah, now I'm real.
Dive out of it. No, I'm not part of this. Don't worry about it.
I'm gonna be writing a stern letter to you after this, an email. Why would you ask such a question?
I don't know. So okay, skipping that. Are you coffee or tea guys at work?
At work, I'm a coffee person, but out of convenience because there's coffee machines. You just press a button and then that's it. It's out of convenience. But like at home, I drink tea.
Oh, right. Okay. It's not you too?
I don't do either. Actually, I don't drink coffee or tea at all.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm right now.
That's how I roll.
I'm drinking mate. I don't know if you know that. That's kind of.
I've tried mate before.
Okay.
What is it?
I don't know what it is. It's a weird drink. It's in Germany. It's like.
Yeah, it's something like green tea and also with lots of caffeine. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but it's with ginger. Ginger is right now my thing. Yeah. So, okay, how is it typical?
Sorry, by the way, you can ask the question that was scary to ask before. By the way,
yeah.
All right. It's just why are you so often drunk at work?
If you ask a question that like we don't want to answer, we'll just say don't want to answer.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Safe word is pineapple. Okay.
Pineapple, got it. All right.
Yeah.
I remember. So, okay, the question I skipped was, why are you so often drunk at work, Jace?
Yeah, Jace, why are you so often so drunk at work?
Tell us. I am right now?
No. Well, I'm not, though. I'm not often drunk at work.
We just portray him as because it's funny.
This is just how I normally am. I'm actually really not that drunk at work. I don't know the last time I was.
No.
There was a stream after update 4 where I got completely shit-faced. But that wasn't a work stream. That was my stream.
Oh, yeah, right.
So, yeah. So, like, but usually, like, I don't think I've ever drank alcohol on a stream unless it's like at the very end or something, or we're wrapping up. I don't. Yeah, no, I'm not a big drinker around my coworkers.
Maybe we established that character on our like Cribs video where
That's what it is. That's what it is. It's the Cribs video.
because that one is Jace is just walking around being fucking plastered, which he isn't. But
Okay, so you are actually not. Okay, great.
yeah, it's a character.
It's a character.
Recklessly saying, I don't remember the last time I was drunk at work. This means that you have been very drunk at very drunk. No, I don't drink at work. I don't drink at work.
Yeah, we have pretty strict policies on that actually.
Yeah,
that
we
we're
do.
not
So
supposed to. Yeah.
I was wondering about that question. So, but I guess what everybody's wondering, and me too, how is a typical workday at Coffee Stain Studios, at least for you guys? So.
Oh, it varies wildly, right? Snutt?
Yeah, it's really strange, especially now during COVID, I guess, where we were working a lot from home. Because I think me and like our situation, me and Jace, that is, like we work very differently compared to like everyone else because we're kind of like almost always on in a sense. Because like it's really hard to just do 9 to 5 in the way that we work. Because when people are streaming, people aren't streaming 9 to 5. Like people are streaming on like the weekends, and like sometimes shit explodes. Like when we put patches out, and like we need to react to that stuff. So like we're kind of like working when we need to, sort of. And then we have like other obligations, maybe that were more where we had deadlines. Like we're putting out a video almost every week.
Stream or something like that.
Yeah. So like my hours vary a lot from day to day. Like, and what I do also varied a lot from day to day. Sometimes I get up late. Sometimes I get up early. Sometimes when we did the Coffee Stain stream, we needed to be on location, so that meant that we had to do some prep work for that. So it really varies a lot.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Pretty much. I don't know, like I would say sort of the same as well. Before COVID, it would, kind of, we sort of worked typical hours where you would be at the office, during the certain times, wake up, have a shower, go to the office or whatever, and then come back. But then even then, if I were to try to escape to my own Twitter or something, I'm still working because people are contacting me everywhere, basically. So like even then I'm like passively at a low intensity, always working. But now, nowadays that's still the same, except like I just roll out of bed in my underwear and start replying to emails instead of like showering and all that kind of stuff and going to an office. But it's still the same kind of stuff. But like as Snutt says, it still sort of matters when we work now when it comes to like making videos, because we'll have to like shoot videos and run drafts by other people, and they're all working at regular work hours. So it kind of depends. But sometimes I find myself just working at 2 a.m. because that's just when I feel like working.
Yep.
Same with me. Also, I'm also, let's say, more productive late in the evening instead of in the morning. But yeah. So COVID, there was a question regarding that. How did COVID change the situation of the development of Satisfactory, positive or well as negative? What could CSS take away as an experience from that?
Do you think it affected things much, Snutt? I mean, things definitely changed because people working from home, right?
Yeah.
But like, as for the development, did it take a hit? I don't think so.
I wouldn't say that I know that for a fact that like our producers are having a hard time like getting a grasp of, like at least in the beginning, like, and also like scheduling in talks with people. So like it's harder for them to keep track of what everyone is doing because they can't just like roll up to someone's desk and be like, hey, what's going on? How you doing? Are you doing okay? Like, are you getting the things you need to get your work done? I think for those roles, it's been tricky. But like everyone else has just been kind of going at it, and everybody kind of like knows what they're doing. And, we've just had to adapt to that and schedule, how we have our production meetings and how we handle, like all that jazz of working from home. So, but I feels like we haven't really like, at least not as far as I know, really had like any, road bumps or anything like that just because of COVID. We've been kind of like just going at it.
Yeah.
It's.
I guess from an IT company or something, or even game development company, when you do a lot of your work on PCs or a computer, then I guess COVID is not really that big an impact. But it's at least the same for me. Okay, there was one question. How your typical workday? I mean, I got that you working on projects, answering emails, setting up stuff, working on the video, for example, on Friday. But as a community manager, so which tasks take the most of your time in a day?
Videos.
Really?
Yeah.
Videos are the biggest thing that takes the most time for sure. And then apart from that, I guess like emails and DMs. We take care of all of those as well. We answer everything pretty much that comes in. So pretty much those things. I mean, on Tuesdays, I guess the community highlight stuff takes a long time.
Yeah, and if there's any other like stream related thing we want to like set up or fix, that can take like we sort of like just dedicated the entire day now for stream, so like we can just work on that stuff on stream days. So like we don't have any other meetings during Tuesdays just because it can take up like so much time setting that shit up. And and like I guess sometimes some days I can spend an entire day just responding to people and not do anything else just because of volume, and like maybe it's more intricate questions, or if people are having issues and stuff that we need to investigate and like check into. So it really varies a lot. But yeah, videos are huge time sinks.
The way that process usually works is like every Monday. This might be interesting. So every Monday we have a meeting. Snutt and myself, as well as a couple of producers. Usually director Mark is in there as well, and we just talk about like what we're going to do for community management for that week in terms of videos and what needs to be communicated and all that stuff. And so that's usually where we decide on what video we're going to do throughout the week. And then Tuesday's a write-off because we have stream and we have to do all the preparations for it. But usually like Snutt might be doing the community highlights and I'll be working on the script for the video. And then Wednesday I'll film the video. And then previously I would do all the editing myself. But now we have an editor. And so Wednesday evening I send them the videos. Thursday the video comes back. I either work on it a little bit or prepare some notes, give it back to the editor. So Thursday evening he edits it. Friday we get it, finalize any editing, and then create thumbnails and do all the release stuff. So that's kind of like what that workflow is like. In terms of like what Snutt and I's like daily stuff is, I don't know. We just kind of just chat to each other every now and then whenever we need something. That's just kind of it. We kind of just leave each other to do their own things, and then we come together at the times that we need to. And or if we find something funny, we'll like share it with each other.
And also, I guess, like depending on what phase we're in development too, like if it's close to release, then we have, our day will look very different compared to like when, everyone's knee deep in development cycle and like we're not really communicating much, and because we don't have much to say, our days really vary on the year.
Are you both still dabbling in programming, so developing? I know, Snutt, you did the mass dismantling thing, right? So
yeah, but that's a long time ago.
Long time ago. Okay, so now you're just focusing on community management, right?
Yeah, no programming for these two.
Yeah, we stopped. There was a point for me where I was doing half community management, half programming. And then I switched to full community management. And then I think Snutt did half programming, half community management, and then switched to community management because it doesn't work. You can't
it's the rite
do
of
it.
passage.
Yeah, it really is. If you do 50% programming and 50% community management, it just means you do poorly at both.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Yeah, like you're not actually doing 50% your ability in each. You're doing like 25% of your ability in each, because the two tasks require completely different like mental focuses, and the other ones pull you in and out of the other one. You just can't focus, and you just do. It's just so much easier and so much less stressful to just do one or the other, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Programming is the kind of thing where you need to get stuck in one thing and be stuck there for a day straight, maybe a week straight, maybe even a month straight, right? But community management is a thing that grabs your attention every 10 minutes. Like it pulls you in a different direction all the time, constantly. So you're constantly switching tasks. That does not work with programming at all. So not going back to that.
Okay. All right.
Not anytime soon.
So focusing more on the, let's say, satisfactory future here. There was one question regarding the finished product or 1.0, will that be released before 2023? I don't know what your roadmap says, or if this is aligned already or something, but
We don't even have a roadmap.
Yeah.
great.
We don't know.
Okay.
We have some kind of rough roadmaps, but it's like there's nothing there that I would comment on, because these roadmaps are subject to change, like super subject to change, so that there's no point in me saying like, oh yeah, no, it's going to be coming out before 2023, and in like, I don't know, 6 months we're saying it's not. Like, what's the point of us even saying it in the first place? Because we genuinely have like a low confidence level on any kind of plan that we have yet. So we have some internal roadmaps, but it's just like there's no point telling you guys.
Yeah, and we also don't want to commit to anything, because if we change our minds and we want to do something else, then if we've communicated publicly like we're going to do this thing, and production is really a puzzle where like you can't do everything. You have to pick and choose what you want to make with the budget and time that you have. So if we feel like we'd rather do something than other, then we want to be like, we want that option to switch and choose.
Understandable, yeah. So regarding that, there was a question about updates and DLCs after Satisfactory is finished, or even is Satisfactory 2 in the far future. I guess you don't have any plans for that right now.
I just had a mild heart attack. Blood ambulance.
Are you working on
DLCs.
Satisfactory 2?
Can we finish the game first before we start looking into DLC?
Yeah, that's the answer, I think, basically, is we feel it's our responsibility to finish the game. A lot of people bought a game with the promise that we would finish it, and it's not even just because of that responsibility. We internally want to have a finished game as well.
Yeah.
So that's where all efforts are going, and there are many things we can do after that. We can do DLCs, we can do free updates, we can make Satisfactory 2, we can make something completely different. There's many things that we can do, and it's just not a bridge that we have to cross right now, since we have so many other things to overcome before that. So
Just I'm reading, looking forward to the $1 toilet flush DLC.
Yep.
So except for
That's
that.
right. That one I'll confirm. 2022,
Confirm.
it's coming.
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Tuesday 2022.
Okay, so for there was a question: how expensive was the development of the game so far? And I know that you can't share any, I don't know, financial details or something, but just to get a, let's say, ballpark figure in terms of what a game of this size is, budgeted for, or I don't know, because I have no idea how expensive game development is.
Right. So I can do some really rough numbers.
Yeah.
All right. Super
Quick
rough.
maths.
Okay. Let's assume, and let's just assume an average salary of like 35,000 Swedish crowns. What is that in euro? It's probably like 3,500 or something.
Yeah.
Swedish crowns to euro.
And that's
Asking my dad 1 sec.
On Facebook.
and there's
on Facebook.
like plus and minus tax and shit here too.
Like
let's
there's
just roll with this for a second.
super rough numbers. So if it was like 3,500 euro a month per person, let's say we average 30 people the entire development. That's 12 months in a year, and we've been working on this for like over let's just say 5 years. I think it's been more.
Yeah, I don't remember how long we worked on it.
So okay, right now calculator is sitting at 6.3 million euro, right? And that's literally just the salaries. That's not what the company pays, because the way that things work in Sweden is like when it comes to people's salaries, you have to pay a social tax on cost on top of that. So it's like it's going to be more than that, and then that doesn't cover other operating costs like rent and all that other stuff. It doesn't cover marketing. So like it's like bajillions of euro, basically, is the answer. So. Yeah, I can't really give you like an actual thing there, but like it gives you an idea that it costs a lot of money to make a game.
Yeah, making games is hella expensive.
Yeah, even you have to buy the hardware, right? Marketing,
exactly.
rent for the offices and so on. It all adds up. So
I guess there's also licensing costs for like software we're using and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. And then Coffee Stain also goes a little above and beyond with when it comes to like healthcare and things like that as well.
Ooh, that's good.
They don't just do the bare minimum. They do provide a bit more as well for people that some people use as well. So like yeah, like so I've said 6.5 million there from that real rough estimation, but I'm sure it is much more than that. If it was double that, I wouldn't be too surprised, but I don't know. I'm pulling that out of my ass.
And I don't want to say fucking Kotaku be like, oh, this is so much satisfaction. This is literally what everyone can calculate. Like, you know how many people work at Coffee Stain, right? This is just like us guessing too, because I don't really personally know either how much it costs.
Yeah.
This is just like us, me and Jace spitballing here.
All right, okay, it's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a huge number at least. If you double it, yeah.
So thanks for everyone who bought the game. Helps a lot.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
For sure.
So one interesting question was, did Satisfactory meet or exceed Coffee Stain's own requirements? Every developer says, yes, I'm satisfied if I have sold X copies, or I wanted to implement feature XYZ. So what do you think about this? Did the game exceed it or met it? Your expectations?
Yeah, no, it completely exceeded our expectations. Before it released, there was, I mean, every developer, I think it's kind of weird to sit there and be like, oh, we'll definitely sell and make all of our money back. Like that's such a silly thing to just blanketly believe, So like we didn't know, especially with this like weird factory game. Like, I mean, how many, like there are successful factory games, obviously, but like, it'd be weird to believe that our factory game is going to make its money back. It's strange, but it did. It's doing really well to the point that we can comfortably keep going with development and make these updates and make it as good as we can. And that's not a luxury that most developers can have. And it's also the kind of I think it has sold to the point that like, like even if we eventually move on from Satisfactory, and I'm sure we eventually will, we'll be in a position where we'll be free to make a game we want to make again, and we won't be like super constrained. So like, who knows what we'll end up doing after Satisfactory? But yeah, we're certainly in a position now with Satisfactory, and then also off the back of Goat Simulator, which we made before as well, that we're quite comfortable with Satisfactory. We can take it as far as we want to take it, and that we'll be in a good position for whatever we do afterwards. And that is the dream. Like any developer could be like, I wanted to earn more, but I mean, getting to a point where you can be comfortable like this is not something that most developers get to. Most of them never reach this. Yeah. And so, yeah. It's honestly blown us away. Yeah, it's huge.
It also made it so that we can do more with the game that we initially intend. Like obviously we had like a bunch of stuff we wanted to do, but like when we released the game, we were like we could move the game in a different direction based on like the reception and stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah, pretty happy.
Yeah, so everybody's having fun with it. So, and I have to say, people are coming into my stream, and when we talk about this stuff, they also mention you as community managers doing just an awesome job on, keeping the community informed and the streams, right? The information you provide and so on. And this is rarely seen from other game developers. So I guess it plays a huge role too, guys. So kudos to you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. And kudos to you guys.
Yeah. Couldn't have done it without you.
Couldn't have done. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So, this one is nice. Which update video shoot was the best so far? Which scene did you have to repeat the most until it was finished?
I can tell you which one was the worst.
Yeah, I think we both agree on that.
Yeah. All right. So on 3, we have to say it. All right.
All right.
1, 2, 3.
Update 5.
Wait, 5?
No, 6. Damn it! I was supposed to say 6. Damn it! Ah, I messed up.
Wait, 6?
No, update 3. Update 3 for sure.
Yeah, update 3 was the worst one. It was the worst experience we've had.
Really? I mean, you were at the Hadron Collider, right?
Yeah, but you only saw like glimpse of what went down on those like 2 days. How long were we gone?
We were I think we were there for 2 nights.
Yeah.
And it was
the
so most stressful 3 days of my life.
Like everything that could go wrong went wrong essentially, and like there were no guarantees whatsoever when we were filming that video. We were hoping we would be able to go underground and see the big Hadron Collider, but there was no guarantee there.
And we were standing out like in massive lines of people over at CERN, and there was like they were like blocking people off, and we were like, yo, can we please get through? We came all the way literally from Sweden to make a video. It's the only reason we came here. And one guy's like, all right, fine, going in. And then we get to another thing. We're like, yo, by the way, and they're like, but you need a press pass. And we're like, we don't have one. They're like, all right, sorry, just go in. So we finally thought that we were going to get to see the Hadron Collider, and a security guy comes out of nowhere and is like, what the fuck you doing? Get out. You don't have a press pass. Yeah. So they kick us out, and we had to wait again. It was like, and we spent like hours in line, and eventually we got in, and that was really good. And then and it was a really hot day. And then after that, we had to go film a bunch of other stuff, but we were mentally drained. I don't even remember seeing the Hadron Collider. It was a blur. Like, we were so busy trying to get takes in front of it and everything that I didn't even take it in.
Yeah. Like, also that video was shot like almost half a year before the update went out. So like, we didn't know everything that was going to go into the update. So like, before we left, we just got a list of here are things that might make it into update 3.
The particle accelerator, for example, was supposed to be in update 3. That's why. That's actually why we went to. Yeah. That's actually why we went to the Large Hadron Collider. And then they said we're taking it out after we went. We're like, but wait, we already went. And then we had to like do that whole pipe thing as well. Or they told us just before we went that we're not going to include it.
Yeah. So we had to like shoot. I think it was like, we had to shoot it so that we could be like, oh, maybe in the update 4 video or whatever, we could go back and be like, hey, remember this? This is why we actually went. And yeah, there was just a bunch of stuff, and dedicated servers were supposed to be in update 3.
Really?
We did a whole shoot where Jace is like, I don't know the state of things. Here's a short snippet. It's like, it didn't happen. Like,
But then not only that, it was like the flight to Switzerland was stressful as hell because like our plane
we almost
was late.
missed it.
Yeah. And then my luggage was like just didn't come to Switzerland.
Yeah.
So I had to like, and I had like medication in there, lesson learned. So I had to like get an Uber back to the airport at 9 p.m. after it finally arrived. And it was just like so that was, sorry, just venting a little. Just realized I'm just venting and no one cares.
It's fine.
But that was the most stressful shoot.
Yeah.
We had one night where me and Jace was like, all right, let's go out and go to a bar and just like hang out for a second. And we did. But like, we were just constantly being like, oh, this fucking video.
Yeah. We were just so stressed. We're like, let's just go back.
Yeah. And then I remember the next day we went to like a Indian place, and the food was so good, but I was so tired that I couldn't eat. And I was just like, oh, I wish I could fucking eat this food because it's amazing, but I'm so tired and exhausted from this trip.
Yeah.
Oh, so that sounds horrible, guys.
that was rough. Yeah, carrying all this shit around, and it was the stressful thing about it is like not knowing, like, are we wasting our time here? Will we have a video? Like, that's the real stressful thing. You can't shake that thought, you know.
Yeah, Coffee Stain are like sending us to another country for us to make this, and we don't know if we can deliver. And
so that was pretty stressful, and that thought always happens, I think, on all the shoots, like including for update 4 and even for update 5. It's that constant thought of like, for different reasons, but like is this going to work? You know, are we going to get what we need? Will people like it? You know, you have all these thoughts like on the day as well, and that can make it a little stressful. But but it's sort of proven that, you know, we can overcome that shit. You know, like if we could do the update 3 video and update 4 and update 5, which was also tough to shoot, then we can do anything.
So about the update 5 video, did you rent out the whole golf thing?
No, we
there were people.
There were people, and we had to like so we picked a day where, first of all, the biggest issue was rain, because when we were scheduling, we had to like wait because it was shit weather during the window we had when we could like schedule the shoot and all that shit. So, and then we picked a day, we're like, okay, it might not rain today, but it might rain today. And the weird thing is, like, if there's continuity issues with the video, where like if it's raining hard and like when we're shooting one scene and then it's not raining at all when we're shooting like a different scene, because like we can't shoot the whole thing in like one go. We have to like do it when it fits. So there might be cases where we're shooting like, you know, the same scene like in the morning and then in the afternoon, and then if those two don't match, it's gonna look really jarring. But no, there were people that we picked a day where we thought like there's no one's gonna show up. There were plenty of people on the golf course, so we had to just like let them pass and like film when we could.
Yeah, so like I think we were only supposed to be on the course for like 1.5 hours or something. I think we ended up spending like 4 or 5 hours
something like
just
that.
trying to get our shots between people and all that kind of stuff. That was a pretty long day. I think we from start to finish we spent about 10 hours.
10 hours, okay.
Yeah, including driving between the golf course and the forest.
Yeah.
And walking, including that. But like, yeah, from the we started working to the point that we were actually done was about 10 hours. Yeah, we just went without a break. It was a rough day because we didn't know, like, do we come back and just do this again tomorrow, or do we just keep going that extra mile just to wrap it up today so we have peace of mind that it's all over? And so we just pushed through. And
But the update 4 one was actually longer because that was I think 12 hours.
That was 12 hours. Yeah.
12 hours. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I mean, update 4 video was really nice because you saw where you were working, right? It was the new office, right? And it was a good, let's say, overview or insight. And the video was also nice with the animations and doggos and drones and everything, and update 5 as well, right? So the golf course, a nod to the golf community, right? Who wants golf in it, but I promise I wouldn't mention golf today.
I mean, we would have put it in, but Snutt went ahead and lost.
Yeah.
What can I say?
What can I say?
I mean, I was really on the fence when I watched the release trailer. So, and there was always something coming, and I was, okay, what is the big thing now? And it was dedicated service, and it was, it's really.
I'm really glad to hear that, because we did want to have it that way, where that people really didn't know what the outcome was going to be, and it's super easy to make it obvious, you know. And I think we did a great job there, where it wasn't obvious, because people were on the fence like the whole way, not really sure if we were adding both, neither one or the other.
I mean, I was also thinking about adding the tier 9 or something. Maybe that would come, but you already said no to new production buildings. But you already said no to drones at some point, so I don't know, right? It's always guessing with you guys.
No to golf.
Yeah.
Maybe Jace, it's coming soon.
Don't, Jace.
All right. So let's move on to, let's say, some features or feature requests or questions about that. And I guess the first questions there was, is there a secret trick to align the foundations to the world grid? And in the last patch, you delivered, right?
Whole control. That's the secret.
Guys, thank you.
Yeah.
Very good. I don't need to pull the train tracks and the foundations over the map again. It's great. Okay, then the I guess the most asked question, at least for feature, was kind of a DSP, a Dyson Sphere program, like this production overview, right? Like a little tablet where you can see, okay, how many, I don't know, iron bars am I producing right now, or computers, and so on. So any plans for that? For example, via the monitors in the hub or something like this?
Yeah, I've talked to our UI or UX peeps about it, and they would like to do it, but we don't know if we can, or like if we have time, or what planning says. So we don't know, actually, but maybe. I mean, we know about it, and we know that people want it, and we kind of want it too, but there's a lot to do with the game already. Yeah. So it's gonna be a good old maybe, or
it's definitely one of those features that, like, I don't think you'd be hard pressed to find someone in the office who doesn't want it. Yeah, you know, like everyone's going to be like, yeah, it is a good idea, you know. And so I mean, I think that's, you know, for people who want that feature, I think that's a good sign. But yeah, we don't have it in the plans, or we don't know what's happening there yet.
And building on that, I mean, you know, all the, you know, websites where the planning tools like satisfactorytools.com and so on. And I remember we talked about this in Snutt the last time, that there was kind of a mock-up or something already in place that the UI designer was working on, where you can plan your factories in-game.
Same thing there. Like we see that and we're like, that's cool, and I wish we could integrate it into our game, but same thing there. Like we don't know what we have time for, and maybe they like this is a lot of stuff that we do for the game. It's like maybe we try something out and feel like it's a lot more work than we thought, or stuff like that. So it's kind of the same answer. Like maybe we've looked at it and the UI people have looked at it, and but we don't know what's coming or not.
Okay.
Because I mean,
Alright.
if you even look at signs, for example, that was something that was like originally mocked up a long time ago.
Yeah.
But then it was like, even though we sort of kind of made them a long time ago, what we learned from doing that was that it's actually a lot of work, and a lot of things need to be included so that they actually make sense and are fun.
Yeah.
And so, it ended up taking a really long time to add them in. And some of those features don't get added in, right? There's many things that we've tried that just sort of, get left behind. But yeah, just so you know, that's kind of what the process is like. And some things end up making it, some things don't.
And science was even a thing. Like back then, when we did those mock-ups, we had already decided like we're gonna put science in the game at some point. And even then,
It still took like 1.5 years
hella
or
delayed,
something.
yeah.
I mean, I guess we talked about it once, and you said you wanted to implement science the right way, right? So that you can do so many stuff with science, and you just want to do it right. And from my point of view, really nice how to implement it.
Man.
There was also the question if I can upload my own pictures into the science.
That would be good.
That'd be cool. I'm sure they've thought of that. Like I've seen the whatever it's called, whenever they talked about features for science, because like we even had even higher aspirations for science. So, but we've sort of just had to settle because like we can go super far with science, and that's given how much discussion has been around this, is super obvious that we can do that. But we have to settle somewhere and like find a good middle ground for it to make sense in all the both like terms of implementing it, but also like what makes sense, UX wise and that kind
and
of
then
stuff.
production time wise as well,
Yeah.
because like we could spend an entire more year on science, but we also need to spend it on other things too.
Sure,
Yeah.
of course,
Right?
yeah.
I'm sure the community would like the signs if we went all in on signs for another year, but maybe we'd be a little frustrated that nothing else happened. So
Yeah, sure.
yeah.
All right. And I guess one feature was, or a feature request, let's say it like this, is automate the melting process. So meaning if you put copper ore into a smelter, it will automatically process it to copper bars. You don't have to, set the recipe. Depending on the input, deciding the recipe. Is this something that you have thought of, or
Yeah, so the main reason why we're not doing that is because it's part of like a little bit of the onboarding process that you're supposed to learn, that like you have to set up the recipes,
okay.
and like recipes have different like they produce and like how that work. And we had initially, I think in a super early build that I tried, we had that functionality that like if you put in iron ore, you get iron ingots out. But I think it wasn't clear what was going on when that was automated. So it was a conscious decision to have it so that you have to like manually set the recipes, because that's how the rest of the game is going to work. So like, yeah.
Okay. So, and of course, I guess you already answered this once, is Mark II versions of smelters and other production buildings are not planned as far as I know, right?
No, well, it's like this is a twofold problem, right?
All right.
So the one issue is that the way the belts work, there's like some precision issue when the speed ramps up. So the higher the speed, the less precision we get on each frame when we're doing calculations and stuff like that, because the conveyor belts, as far as I know, are somewhat frame dependent. And they're kind of precise the way they are right now, but if we would ramp them up even more, then we would kind of lose out on that precision and the calculations. So that's a problem, and we're going to look into that at some point. We just haven't had time. But the outcome of that would be, if we feel that we can't solve that and we're not able to like add the Mark VI conveyor belts and stuff like that, then we would need to look into alternate solutions, right? Which could be, add more outputs to the miner, or maybe we completely change the balancing of the rest of the game so that Mark V would make sense, and an overclocked miner wouldn't produce blah. I don't remember the exact number, but
I think it was a different question, Snutt, but that's the answer to that question.
cool.
And this question I have on my list too, so thank you for that.
Yeah. So that's the
I
Mark
jumped ahead.
III. That's the Mark III miner, right?
Yeah.
That you were talking about, Snutt. Yeah. But you were asking about Mark II production buildings, right?
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. I was asking about the production buildings, but don't worry, the question for the miners was already on the list, and everybody was really.
Then that's done. We can move on.
People want that one anyway.
Yeah.
Nice. I so respectfully, you guys just like let me rant on for so long before like, what are you talking about?
I think everyone knew what you were talking about though, and wanted that answer anyway.
Yeah.
So that's the Mark III miner, and why that hasn't been solved yet, or 2 outputs or whatever that a lot of people are asking about.
Yeah.
As for Mark II production buildings, that's not in the plans, and I think it's kind of like weird. Like, what do you want from them? I suppose. Like, do you want them to like make things quicker?
I guess
that's what overclocking and alternate recipes are for, right? So like, do you want them to make different things? But that's what like an assembler is like a Mark II constructor, and a manufacturer is like a Mark II assembler. So like we have different buildings for that kind of stuff. Yeah. So.
And then
It's
there's
not really
also
in the
production for us, production-wise too. Like if we were to add a Mark II building of anything, we wouldn't want it to just be like slap on a sticker that says Mark II. We would probably want to like make a fancy,
new design, or
cooler
something.
looking, and that means that we have to make every single building again, and it's a lot of work doing that stuff for
we can
artists.
get a lot more out of the game doing other things. Probably.
Yeah.
There are probably easier ways to extract more fun out of the game.
Of course, yeah. I remember a mod where there are Mark II buildings, but they are just faster. So that is the only reason I can imagine for having those. But as you said, to produce things faster, there are alternate recipes. So
exactly, and overclocking.
Is a map editor planned?
Not planned.
I don't think so.
No. All right. I mean,
I don't know what's happening with map editing at all, like yet. Yeah, like
I think we would want to look into mod support before we would do that either.
All right. Okay.
Anyways.
Regarding mods, will mods make their way to dedicated servers?
That's a good question. I have no idea actually.
That's up to the modding community, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Until we end up, because we do plan on addressing mods and official mod support at some point. Don't really know how that's going to work yet or what we're doing, but we do want to make mods, officially part of the game at some point. And so when we do, I'm sure we'll address that when it comes to dedicated servers. But as of up to today, all the mods that you see are completely done by the community. It's completely driven by them, and so we are pretty much hands off. We help them out sometimes with some things, but for the most part, we have no control and don't want any control over what the modding community kind of does.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's not impossible that once they solve because right now mods don't work on experimental anyways. It's not impossible that like when they solve that mods will kind of work on dedicated servers. I don't know.
Maybe.
I have no idea actually. I haven't looked into that at all.
There is a version of the mod loader floating around which is working, but it's really high experimental. And because I use them for, sandbox videos, right, tutorials and so on to fly around, but this is not even working right now. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it possible at some point to detoxify the toxic areas or to use the gas? And I remember, Snutt, we talked about that last time too. And I guess it was not out of the question, right?
I think our answer has always been like, you're going to be able to do something with it, but we don't know exactly what it is.
Okay.
Or something like that.
All right. Oh, and I guess a good question is about the achievement system. Will there be one? So, for example, how many rocket engines or thermal engines per minute, or produce 1 million iron ingots or something like this, or achievement system in general?
Yeah, I think the goal is to put something in. I think we've always had that in mind. And we do want to do it, but we just didn't want to add any achievements while the game is still being actively developed, because then we would make achievements that make sense for the game in the state that it was like a year ago, but then it comes a long way, and now those achievements are either impossible or easy or too hard or something like that after rebalancing or after the game changes. So
makes sense.
Yeah, like achievements are cool, and we get that. Like a lot of people want them, but it's not something that's like necessary to push the game forward.
Yes.
Nor is it a great idea to put them in yet while the game is still in flux. So maybe when we lock things down a little more, we'll do that so that achievement hunters will get what they want.
Maybe in 1.0, yeah. Okay, great. So there's always this question about blueprints. Factorio has it, DSP has it. Are you planning on having that too at some point? I mean, you put a huge thing in with the zooping, which is rightly balanced, right? It's not too much. It's not. It's really good. And blueprinting, is this something that you are looking into?
Take it away, Snutt.
Not right now, I think. I think Blueprints have always gone back and forth a little bit internally. Some people want it, some people don't. And I think our stance still is kind of like, we don't know, probably not, but maybe, I don't know. We'll kind of see. It's like something that our director, Mark, is that he's constantly fighting. But right now, we don't really like see the main benefit of it. At the moment, even though you guys obviously want it, but like,
so that's the one of the hard parts. Like, there's many sort of like angles to this, but like one of the things is like a lot of people can see a benefit. I'll make my things quicker, right? But at the end of the day, it's like, but does that actually enhance your overall experience? Like when you play the game for I don't know 100 hours and you've had blueprints, you'll have more. You'll have a bigger factory than you had before, but will you actually feel better than before? Like, will you feel like you've accomplished more than if you didn't? Like, no, at the end of the day, like 100 hours of work in the game is kind of still 100 hours worth of work. So, you know, and then when we start taking into like technical limitations of the game as well, because it is kind of like an infinite building game, but people's hardware don't scale infinitely, and it gets really tricky. So like whenever we talk about it, it always ends in this weird situation where we're like, yeah, because it's like it's not a simple yes or no like answer, you know, and it's a big thing to commit to design wise as well as like work wise. So it is one of these things that like we totally hear people want it, and it's okay to keep suggesting it, you know, and we'll keep thinking on it and just keep munching on it. And maybe one day when we feel like convinced that, you know, when we convince ourselves that we're sure that we need it and we know of a good way to implement it, then we'll do it. But as of right now, it is in that weird space of like, we see a lot of people want it, but we can't really convince ourselves of it just yet.
I guess the big difference between Satisfactory and then other blueprinting games like Factorio or DSP is that actually they are infinite and the hardware is not really that constrained like in Satisfactory. So you have if you build more blueprints or put down more blueprints, you would really, I don't know, get to the point where it's not playable anymore at some point.
There's also an aspect. There's also an aspect of like in Satisfactory, a lot of like the building mechanics are kind of like you building is part of the game, and like that's part of the fun. So like people figuring out all these ways to like make cosmetics where like, you know, if you put out a foundation and you put a walkway in the middle and then you put a foundation after that and you remove the walkway, and like all those steps are also kind of like what makes that kind of building fun. And if you had blueprints, you would sort of just do that once and then you're kind of like not doing it anymore.
So like someone in the comments, if I understand the question correctly, is kind of saying like, well, what would have taken, I'm sorry if I'm misunderstanding your question here, but like what they're saying is what would have taken 500 hours to build now takes 2,000 hours to build without blueprints, and 2,000 hours is unreasonable. But I would say that if you had blueprints to begin with, you still would have created a concept of something that would have taken 2,000 hours to build anyway. Yeah. Like you probably still would have like come up with a build that would be 4 times bigger anyway. And you would spend 2,000 hours building anyway. That's kind of the thing. It's tricky. I always come back to like,
but it's something we always fight against. Like there are other aspects of this where like, you know, adding one thing would mean that we would just move the goalpost as to like what you would want to get out of the game, and that there are plenty of other topics where this is an issue. And like at some point, you know, sometimes we just have to make the decision that like maybe this is what's best for now, or you know. So,
and for all other purposes, there are mods for that at some point, right? There was a mod where you can blueprint, and regarding the performance, right? So what is the main bottleneck of the game right now? Would you say the engine, the hardware? Sorry?
Snutt's code.
Very good.
And not impossible, actually.
This is probably my code.
The bottleneck is, I think currently is the CPU, that like there's a lot of update ticks and like, or ticks is the internal word, like a lot of update cycles to the game. And you know, when this is really the issue when you're making these type of games where like there are serial stuff happening. So you know, like how, you know, one factory produces this thing, which means that this has a dependency on that, and that's a dependency on that, and that scales like in our game. And like Jace said before, this is an infinite builder, so people could put out a lot of stuff. But I think right now the biggest issues are really like performance on the CPU and like having things run And like, the more objects, the more processing power you need, or like and the game can only be like scaled so much when it comes to like parallelization. So like you can't really, when you talk about serialization, like I said before, you can't like have everything run in parallel because there are dependencies on something that needed to happen before. So yeah, so like you can't have all the buildings run on a separate thread, for instance, because they have dependencies on each other. So it's really tricky. It's a tricky balance there.
Yeah, but the team does a great job anyway, still squeezing as much performance as possible out. Like they really, really do, and we do this like all the time. Like with every update, there are some benefits, but there like as Snutt is explaining, like just the nature of our game. All games have like certain things in their nature that just like really poses like a big sort of like problem to solve, and or in some cases it can be kind of impossible. Like if we have to do things serially where things depend on other things, that's not a reality we can get around in terms of optimization. So we have to like try to solve it in other ways.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the hardware at that point, because when I'm checking all the time when I'm playing, right, my GPU and CPU load, and my CPU rarely goes above 50% on this. I don't know if this is something to do with the engine or I don't know, Windows, or I don't know, but or with the threads or something. But this is why I'm just a bit surprised that the CPU is a bottleneck. When at least in my case,
running it, do you have capped frame rate, or are you running it just like render as many frames as you can?
I have capped at 144. So
okay, well that's pretty high. Like the target for us is really 60. So like anything above 60 is like, so your GPU is probably just like, oh, I'm gonna give more power.
My GPU is actually at 60%. So it's but my system is quite new. So but
like it really depends on like how you build too. And when I say the CPU is a bottleneck, that's the majority of cases, right? Like the majority of people are playing, and it really varies depending on how you build, but also how you like. If you're playing online or if you're hosting and stuff like that, because if you're playing a multiplayer session and you're the host, you're definitely going to see the CPU spike, because the CPU has to also serve everyone that's playing with you and handle that stuff. So it's like there's tons of different use cases where performance will be very different for everyone. But yeah, we are working on like trying to like fix everything sort of at the same time, or not at the same time, but like we're working on small chunks of everything all the time when we're pushing patches and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's a good point. So right now, after the update, right, where are your priorities in development Satisfactory right now? Are you looking in bug fixing, of course, maybe, or already allocating some resources to update 6, or what is right now taking up the most, let's say, resources?
Kind of a mix right now. We've still got a lot of folks still working on update 5 fixes and things like that. Not only fixes, but also new things that are coming. So like, for example, snapping to the world grid is like a new feature essentially, right? So like we have some other ideas of things that we would like to get in before early access. I don't know, maybe it'll come after early access. Maybe they won't make it in at all, who knows? But so we have some folks working on that, but we also do have folks working on the next update as well. And that makes like total sense. Like we've had people working on the next update for a very long time now. So if you take Hannah, for example, she's been doing like the world design stuff. And but like the world that you guys are seeing now is like the world that she finished months ago, And so there are other people who've been, who don't need to work on update 5 right now, or haven't needed to work on it for a while, that are doing the next update. So yeah, it's kind of a mix, and over the next few weeks, I guess, we'll see how things go. Things will sort of like transition over to all on update, the next update.
It's kind of the nature of games in early access, because we also need to move on. We can't like fix everything once we release an update, because then we would be stuck in that spiral over and over again. Because a lot of times when we introduce something new, we break something that already existed, and this happens every single update. And we just don't want to like get stuck too much in fixing the same issue over and over again. When we have so much else that we want to be able to put in the game before 1.0.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. Okay. There was one question regarding renewable energy. in the game. And I remember that I guess water power was not out of the question if it's put on rivers where it's kind of restricted. But renewable energy like solar, where you can just put 100 things in the desert and get unlimited amounts of energy, that was not something that you guys or is your intention. Are there any updates on this?
Nope. It's pretty much
All right,
the same.
You nailed it. It's like you work here or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do a lot of content with Satisfactory, so yeah, I know my stuff at least sometimes.
You do indeed.
About animals and more vegetation on the map, more neutral ones, neutral animals, the map or let's say the world more alive at some point. Is there something planned, or Hannah working on it?
There's a big crab.
Yeah, the big crab is confirmed, right? The world boss.
There's a big crab. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, big crab.
Big crab's coming your way. Watch out, everybody! Big crab
right
coming
for us.
Okay, the big crab. I mean, yeah.
Big crab. Yeah.
That's the one thing at least. That's one thing that we want to do at some point. We got to fix the AI pathing system.
Yeah. As for other things, I don't know. Actually, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe.
Regarding the pathing system, pathfinding of the trains. Currently, they are choosing the shortest route or route through to the next station. And I guess people are more kind of like used to maybe the Factorio way, and so where you can have like some kind of waiting area, and the train chooses automatically which route to go. Is there, are you thinking about changing the path signals or the AI of the trains at some point, or is the pathing and trains fixed right now?
So we definitely see that discussion, and we would like to do it that way. But I think the way, like when you compare Satisfactory to other train games or games with trains in them, I think under the hood our games work very differently. I talked to a person working on trains, and it is not a trivial thing to solve. We are going to look into it at some point, but it's not like guaranteed that we can get that to work. That's pretty much the state of that.
Okay. Yeah.
But, the trains are like fully finished yet, so there's still like more things we want to do, and we've been kind of like setting aside the experimental time to like just grab feedback from people on how the trains work. It's like part of the feedback round that we're getting, and we're probably going to look into it, but we don't know yet.
But it's good information that it's not a trivial thing, because I guess people are just okay. I mean, it's easy to implement, right? But
just go the other way, right? Just go around.
Yeah, but okay, good to know. Good to know. There was a question in chat regarding doing something with the water. Either putting creatures in it, like the Reaper Leviathan from Subnautica or something, or at least ships or something. And I know ship transportation you denied at some point, but are any plans for water to?
It's like you guys didn't have enough with the spider, so you got to put the fucking Leviathan from Subnautica in the game too, huh?
Okay, the anglerfish. Anglerfish from Outer Wilds.
Because I'm falling into the water all the time, and my chat is wants to have the Leviathan.
That's why they want to add it, so they can screw you over.
Yeah, screw them. Okay, but
I don't know. I actually don't think we have much. There's nothing in the plans at the moment anyway. I think really with a big crab.
A big crab.
There's gonna be a big crab. I think
a recurring theme here. The big crab. Okay.
Yeah. But I don't know if we're going to be putting any like giant fish in the water or anything yet.
The only thing we do in that regard is removing it. That's what we did.
All right.
Yeah, we did have a fish, didn't we?
Yeah, we did have like a fish going around in a circle.
Oh,
there used to be one fish.
Yeah.
Okay.
I learned about this like a few weeks ago. Actually, I didn't know about this.
Yeah.
There was a fish, guys. Okay.
Yeah, it was removed like super early on.
Okay, moving on with the splitter mechanics. The splitter and I don't know, fusionators or something. I don't know how you pronounce it in English, but there's this request that you have some kind of possibility to put in how many items per exit, or how many items should be joined in an intelligent fusionator or something. I know that you wanted to work on the programmable splitter, but is this something that
Is this like ratios for
yeah,
the
ratios? Sorry,
controlling ratios. Yeah.
Mhm.
I think it's definitely something you definitely see the benefit of that when you play the game right. I certainly do. But I don't know what our stance is on that, because like a big part of the game is really you like solving the ratio issues in the game, and that's a huge part of Satisfactory compared to like other factory building games. But so I don't know exactly what the intent there is with our director.
Yeah,
I know that we want.
Hmm.
Sorry, go.
No, that is true. That sort of is like solving those ratios is kind of the aim of the game. But then at the same time, it's like, but that's the programmable splitter. It's kind of later. Maybe we should just give it to like.
Yeah. So I don't know what the intent there is with it's our game director Mark who's going to make that decision. I know that he knows about this and he has probably a lot of thoughts about it, as to like maybe why we should do it or maybe why you shouldn't do it and stuff like that we don't know about right now. But we definitely hear y'all on that. I mean, I've proposed this internally even when I was.
I hope this is somewhat meaningful for people. By the way, when we're like, we don't know, but we do know you're saying this, and we see it. Hopefully, that's even remotely helpful. But
yeah, I guess. I mean, it helps when you know about it, and the people see that. You care about it, about this feature or request, and think about it.
I guess it can get frustrating if it feels like the developer never even listens at all. Like, but we listen, we can hear,
and we know that, Jace. We know that, and this is really good that you do.
Thanks.
So, logistics under the ceiling. So, you know, the belts. You can put pipes, but no belts. So, this something, maybe?
Something that's perfect to upvote on our QA site.
Okay, guys, upvote it.
I don't know the state of that either, if that's something we're planning to do or not.
All right, okay.
They don't tell us nothing. Until they want us to market it, then it's like, oh, look how important it is. We gotta tell everybody, oh, this is a super cool feature in the game. Anyway.
Jace, I'm gonna let you out of the dungeon. Go make a video now. I'm like, okay.
Okay. All right. So, of course, when we are talking cosmetics or design stuff, are there plans for expandable wall conveyors and foundation holes for hypertubes?
Yeah, same thing there. I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe. Okay. Maybe it's.
I don't know, maybe.
All right. The customizer has this new, coated concrete foundations, and so on. Will it be possible to maybe put this material on the walls too?
Unfortunately, same answer there. I don't know. Maybe. I think, like if people upvoted on our QA site and then we were like, whoa, a lot of people really wanted this, then.
Okay, guys, so any features you might, to the chat, right, you might want upvoted on the Q&A side, and bugs too, right? Just go to the Q&A side, post it there, upvote existing posts. This is the best way. All right. I'm just, scrolling through the questions here.
No worries, man.
Dive
in. Came well prepared.
Will there be underwater volcanoes for thermal generators? Actually, I find it maybe it's a nice touch, but yeah.
Actually sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, cool, right?
Actually sounds kind of cool.
I think actually on the topic of geothermal generators, I think this is something that we're probably going to keep fighting until we're happy with it, or maybe we are fighting, I don't know. But like when we changed how they work in update 4, like we didn't like how they were, and like we didn't like the fact that like nobody was using them. And then after update 4, I don't know if the entire community exploded like, oh, I'm going to use all the geothermal. So it's possible that there's still some work left there to work on geothermal generators, and like maybe the solution there is just add more nodes or maybe change how the thermal work. I don't know exactly, but I definitely know that we are like all these areas in the game that might feel frustrating or feel like it's lacking and stuff like that. We're definitely like aware of that stuff, and we're constantly thinking about like how to tackle that.
But whether or not we add like underwater ones or something, like I'm not sure. It definitely sounds kind of cool, but like there might be a lot of other things that would need to be added to sort of justify that.
Yeah,
I see.
So we'd have to kind of see.
Okay, and one question at least I have regarding the pipes, the Mark II pipes, and there's also a question: will there be more pipes like Mark III? And I guess the throughput of Mark II pipes is really pushing the limit of the engine. This is something that Snutt said sometimes. I don't know if the engine update or upgrade did anything for that. But
No. We pretty much said in the fluid update that we won't add Mark III pipes, just because the limitation, the same kind of issue with the conveyor belts. There's a precision issue when you start pushing that value. Even 600 at the right now, there's a fight between the programmers that don't really think that we should have it because the game, like, it's really at the limit. And Mark that really like, I want it. So it's sort of still under evaluation whether or not we can have 600 actually. But yeah, we definitely know that we won't go above that number. That's for sure. We might need to do some rebalancing with the pipes in the future because of that issue.
Yeah, like if we, like, for example, if we just halve the usage and extraction of pipes, just for example, then like ultimately, you know, the need for it and also the extraction, then ultimately we could come back up to 600 and you could get double the amount of fluid, right? And then we could maybe have half what MK2 pipes could do, and then add an MK3 or something like that. But one way or another, we can't really push that 600 number.
Yeah,
because right now, as you know, the pipe issue, it's just pushing like 498 or something at some point, and at least. For a game that, or I'd like to, have really precision factories worked out with the numbers really aligning. And when there's one pipe, it's driving me crazy when it's not, the throughput is not 600 but 498, and everything breaks down just because of it.
I had the same issue as well in my factory, and it's really, really annoying. It's like everything else in this game I can crunch the numbers on and it's going to be perfect, but not that. Right? Like I totally get it. It's super annoying,
and it's so hard to like sometimes know in certain situations, like, is it because of the way I set up the pipe, or is it a bug in the game, or is it like it's kind of unclear what's going on as well. So
because there are many times, right, where you think you've set something up right, and then you spend like 4 hours debugging your factory and you find actually I put an MK1 down instead of MK2. But this is one where I looked for like 5 hours. It wasn't me. I'm not going crazy.
I feel you, man. It's the same with me.
So no, totally get it. I think it's something that will be addressed at some point, one way or another.
Yeah.
I can imagine just putting it down a bit or something, not pushing the 600, but you will figure it out.
Yeah, something like that.
All right. So just looking. Oh yeah, plants and trees to plant for players.
Sounds cool. I'll put that in the queue.
Upvote. So Martin, if you're in the chat, upvote your.
Hell yeah.
I mean, it would be great. And also, there was one question here: the model of the server, of the dedicated server that you had in game.
We should add that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should add that. I think we should add that. That's the first thing that I said when I saw that. I
still like the idea that like we had it so that you can only build it if you're on a dedicated server, and then if you hit it with the Xenobasher, it crashes the server.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's a nice touch. That would be great.
We had a little thing like this in Goat Simulator, the MMO DLC for Goat Simulator, which is hilarious, by the way. There was like this server room, so you're playing on an MMO server, right? And there was a server room, and if you found it and headbutted it, like the textures would break, and then you headbutt it again, and everything goes wireframe. Like, I don't know, I really love that. It would be cool to do something
like that.
Yeah,
I love the
great.
pop-up too.
Yeah, and then a little pop-up that says the server has crashed, yes or no.
Yes or no.
You're like no, like
no matter what you pick, they would always crash.
The game just crashes.
Yeah, just add it. I mean, that would be great.
It could be fun. I think it would be really funny. Yeah. Even if like it glitches out just for like 10 seconds or something every time you whacked it, that would be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you implemented the customizer, I mean, you kind of laid the groundwork to implement more material types, I think, for roads, asphalt for roads. I mean, the new concrete is I mean, all the new design stuff is really blowing my mind, but you have so many new additions. And from my point of view, I guess the customizer is the base for it all. So you can add on if you want. Is this true, or is this kind of fixed?
Yeah, it's kind of like a good ground layer or whatever, and we might add more things to it, but we haven't decided yet, or we haven't tried actually. Yeah.
All right.
At least design wise, it makes it has created a foundation for us to be able to do that. But like, I don't know if there's like what kind of technical issues are involved with adding more things, if any. I just don't know. Yeah.
Okay. And one thing that people, and I didn't know if it was confirmed for update 5, but the rework of the equipment system, meaning body slots, and I know that now when you have the radiation suit, it kind of acts like a gas filter too, right?
Does it?
Somebody told me that. Does it? Yeah, I mean, something like this.
Nerf the suit.
I don't think it does, but maybe I don't know if that was intentional or not. Maybe, but
I said nothing.
Okay.
Get Mark on the phone.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, in general, I think we're gonna I think we said this last time as well, but we're gonna do somewhat of an overpass on the whole equipment system because there are some issues with it, and there are some things that we didn't like actually had never liked since we released it. Initially, actually, we did have 2 body slots when we released, but it felt like you were too overpowered when you used that, and it kind of made equipment kind of in a way almost redundant because they were just I just have this on all the time and I would never change.
Yeah,
but then the way we have it,
feature.
Yeah, but now the way that it works right now is, but now you're limited with the fact that you can't do certain things, you can't have the hover pack and the hazmat suit on at the same time, which means you can't use the hover pack and when you're building nuclear power plants. So that's not a good solution either. So
that's
I think,
a challenge,
yeah. So we are going to look into that later down the line. There's also a bunch of bugs that we've just been holding off working on just because we know that we're probably going to change the equipment system anyways, such as the bug where if you're in a vehicle, your gas mask doesn't work anymore and stuff like that. And that's just a bug that just we know about it, but there's no point in trying to make a workaround right now because we know that we're going to work
when you revamp it
later
along the way. Yeah.
And
also,
yeah, so I know Mark has a bunch of ideas on what it was to do with the equipment system, but I don't know what's feasible of doing and what actually is going to be the end product or stuff like that.
And I remember that you said that the map was designed for this kind of equipment slots that you need, the gas mask, and if you have a jetpack and gas mask, some challenges or terrain challenges, let's say, are not really a challenge anymore. You can just fly. Yeah. Get the hard drive, get out.
Which is a good point because if we then feel that okay, we need to revamp the equipment system, then that also means that maybe we need to rethink some of the level design too, and that task suddenly grows so much, and that's probably why we put it off for so long because it's usually sometimes in game development when you see a tiny problem, you don't realize how much all the different solutions, how much they affect the rest of the game. It really is like a house of cards sometimes when you're developing and trying to solve things.
Yeah,
and sometimes
it's a great example of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes it's it sounds so clever when you think about it. Oh, theoretically, it can just do this and that will solve all the problems. And then you try it out and you realize, oh wait, there's so many other issues because of this, and you have to sort of weigh the benefits and the issues with it. And is it worth implementing this if I have these other issues?
Yeah.
So
it's so the obvious solution of just add another slot is the first thing that everyone thinks of, and but my game developer brain, the second I hear add another slot, red flags and alarms are going off. I immediately have this sense of too easy. There's gonna be that's not, there's something wrong here. There's no way that's the solution. And and as Snutt's pointing out, there are many reasons that something is mundane as add one more slot, how much that can impact the game.
With implications,
and if it can impact the game a little bit, it does. Players naturally, and this is part of playing video games, naturally milk every ounce of efficiency as they can out of a game. So if they can abuse a mechanic or something like that, they will do it to the point that they don't even have fun anymore.
Yeah,
they would be it's better to do this, so I'll do it. Even if it's not fun, I'll do it because it's better.
Yeah, there's a quote that's if you can optimize away the fun out of the game, the players will do it. And it's if players will always take
and then say that it's not fun.
Resistance. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I guess a good example is, for example, the hover pack, right? So you just build power poles through the map, through every terrain, and get your hard drives from up above, just like a hawk down and up again, and then next. So yeah,
exactly. And that's an issue that Mark was aware of. Okay, if we introduce a hover pack, then you can do this, but we have to sort of be okay with that issue, or that people will do this, and that's probably why it's so late. Because like when you reach tier 7 and tier 8, when you have access to the hover pack, you probably already explored the map, so it's not an issue anymore. Like it's fine that you can like cheat it in that way.
Good point. Yeah. I was just reading something in the chat regarding Unreal Engine 5, and I know last time you said that every time upgrading to a new version of the Unreal Engine is a pain in the ass. It's so much code you have to rework, and the team is on a huge load on this. So regarding this, Unreal Engine 5, something planned?
Not planned, no.
Not planned.
Especially since Update 5 or Unreal Engine 5 is still in like, it's not in a production state.
Oh, it's not.
And
okay.
they actively discourage people from actually using Unreal Engine 5 for any production until it's like ready for that. So we can't even evaluate that until, you know, it's in production ready state. But even then, like we might not be able to like take advantage of everything in Unreal Engine 5 because we already made like a bunch of custom stuff for Satisfactory. So, you know, there's no guarantees that we can use like Lumen, their lighting model.
I see.
Like,
too many customizations.
You have to build the game with all that stuff in mind. As far as I understand. So.
Because that's the same thing with because we have tried out Unreal Engine 5, and you know there are limitations with those those technologies as well. And in some cases, we're using something that we've made ourselves, and if we were to use Nanite, for instance, then we couldn't do that anymore. So it's but we don't know.
Okay, because I was really surprised to have an engine upgrade in Update 5, because in Update 4, you told us that it was such a huge thing to do, and it was really stressful for the team. So, and then you did it again. So
the benefits outweighed the problems of it.
Yeah, we don't rush. We're not like get every single Unreal Engine 4 update. We have to like really, like as Snutt saying, evaluate each time. And it just seemed like there was like some really good stuff that we really thought was useful. So that made sense.
Okay, great. So just looking through. The customizer for quarter RAMs and other, let's say, foundation types. There was a question: is for the customizer to use it for those types? Is this thought of? I mean, like the RAMs, I guess you cannot really customize them.
You can't, or
yeah, you can't. There's a question: will there be a possibility to use the customizer for quarter pipes and other foundation variants?
I thought you could.
Wait, you can't? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I have to check too. I don't know. I'm just reading the question.
All right. Well, it's possible you can't, but.
Okay, yeah, if you can't, then you can't. But that's probably because that buildable doesn't exist right now.
Oh, do we not have like concrete?
Maybe we don't have like concrete half pipes and stuff like that. Good question, actually. I don't know what the state of that is. If you're gonna add
maybe just an oversight. I'm sure there wasn't some like clever big brain reason as to why concrete quarter pipes that's right out, you know. Now science has gone too far.
It might be the case of just like we didn't have time to implement everything, and maybe we're saving it, or maybe we'll like reevaluate it later if a lot of people really want it. But I don't know the actual like reasoning actually.
Okay.
I actually didn't even think about that. Actually, I haven't tried placing concrete.
Me neither. I just read it in the questions and in the chat, but it's true. So okay. The question about lifts, maybe lifts for vehicles and players. There are mods for this, but is this something that you find, suitable for a factory?
I wouldn't say unsuitable, but we haven't really delved into it.
Okay.
Like the hypertubes were sort of supposed to like sort of solve that problem ish, in a way. And that wasn't the main reason why we made hypertubes, but it was really like, and we also kind of get elevators because you can use them as elevators, but not vehicles, I guess. But I don't know. I'll put that on the Q&A side if you really want
Q&A
it.
side. Also the same, I'm just reading patterns and colors on glass floors, walls and roofs. So the patterns that you can, get from the awesome shop. Also something that we have to upvote on the side, right?
Yeah, it's I think for now it's like a conscious decision to just have it for foundations.
Ah, okay. All right, just foundations. Okay.
Yeah, but maybe we'll change it in the future. Who knows?
Maybe. All right, and new vehicles, because I remember the teaser for the new vehicle transportation system, and in the back there was kind of a thing with, it was a truck in the end, but people were really wondering about it, if this is a new type of transportation, new type of car or something. Any plans on, adding a bit more on it, or, I don't know, new trains, new cars, something like this?
I don't think we have any plans for any new vehicles. We have talked about like maybe some other things where you can modify vehicles, so we can maybe see with that. But like, yeah, we don't really know yet. But yeah, no plans to add new vehicles.
Okay.
At the moment, yeah.
Okay, just rounding up the questions. Last dev blog mentioned they want to move on from Satisfactory within the next 2 years. Will the game be left to modders after that?
Did we say that?
Which was the devlog? Was that the video or the blog post that we put out and then
Falcon,
it's gone now? Or
yeah. Was it the last dev blog? He said, I don't know, maybe the dev stream?
I don't know.
I don't even know if that's...
I don't know if we said that, but I think it kind of ties back into the answer Jace gave before, where we don't really know what's going to happen after we're done with the game, or like once we reach 1.0, maybe we'll keep working on it, or maybe we'll move on or make DLC, or yeah, it's kind of like we will cross that bridge. We will burn that bridge when we get to it.
Sure.
Devstream, some from Marv here. Devstream mentioned 1.0 in 2022, maybe. Yeah, maybe we mentioned that. I don't know. Yeah, no, but the answer is we don't really know exactly. Like, I think we've had some plans, but we don't really know exactly when 1.0 is going to come out. And then we don't really even know after that. Like, do we move on, or do we keep doing more Satisfactory stuff? We'll have to see. That's a lot of questions that are like just like not on our minds, right?
Yeah.
Not really. We have like, I mean, the question of like, when are we going to finish is a pretty important, get to 1.0 is pretty on our minds actually, but it's more of like, okay, but what do we need to do? How long do we want to keep doing this? And what do we need to do? And what, and then do it. But yeah, it really is just, I don't know. I don't think we have like a date that we're like working towards necessarily.
We don't.
There's too many things to consider.
And I
think we say like on our Steam page that like, 1.0 is scheduled for 2022, but we put that on our Steam page like when we launched it on Steam, which was in 2019, and yeah, it's a guess.
It's a guess. A guesstimate. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess with the features and bugs, guys from the chat, please use the Q&A site to upvote features and post new bugs when you find them. I'd like to, I'm taking too much of your time already. So anything you want to share with the German community?
Love you.
Yeah.
We love you too, guys.
I mean, German community is, I think, like one of our biggest most
one,
active,
sure.
maybe the biggest one. I'm not sure.
I see a ton of German streamers whenever I scout the old Twitch, and I do lurk a lot on German streams. I don't understand most of it. I did take like German classes like way back, so like sometimes I can like get a rough understanding of what people are talking about. For the most part, I'm just like hanging out and just watching. Yeah, watching.
Yeah.
By the way, what games are you playing right now, guys? Sorry to interrupt.
Sorry, I just want to say thanks though. Thanks to German community for being so active and passionate and supportive and enjoying the game. Thank you very, very much, everybody.
Thank you for this awesome game.
Yeah, like the German community is like definitely one of like the bigger communities that we're always like, German community is crazy about Satisfactory. Like everyone's kind of aware of it at Coffee Stain as well.
Yeah.
So just a huge thank you to everybody, all the content creators, all the players. Thank you.
Or maybe they're just like streaming it a ton and just talking shit about us constantly, and we just
maybe they're doing that. They're like,
look at this dog shit game.
What were they thinking?
Yeah.
And then apparently they're like, there's a lot of viewers who love that. They're like,
and I'm just
all the
sitting there
police
like,
are coming. Oh no, the truth is out.
No, guys, we love you. You know that. And
thanks.
I'd like to ask one question from a guy who's having some kind of this simulation sickness. So could be something like a third party, third person view be implemented? I know that some mods you can zoom out of your character, but it just doesn't look good. But is there something like this?
So, like as you say, there's a mod where you can sort of zoom out, but it doesn't look good, and that's exactly kind of the problem. So, like, I think we, sure, third person would be nice, but again, it's one of those features that it's not as simple as just moving the camera back. Like, it impacts the game greatly, and a lot of things need to be solved and taken into account. So it is one of those questions again of like whether or not that's going to make it into the planning right now over other things. It is kind of a bummer though, because it is kind of like an accessibility thing as well. And it really sucks when some people just like feel unwell playing our game, but if they had third person, they'd feel better. And so there's a really strong argument that we should really, really do it. But yeah, I guess we just haven't yet, and I don't really know what the plan is. But it's just like it's just not this like super simple thing to do. It actually takes, like, if we put it in the game, we have a responsibility to like make it work as well.
Yeah. I guess it's also an issue that like we haven't had. I think third person has always been sort of like it was never the intent to have any third person in the game whatsoever. And then I guess like at some point we added cars and we're like, oh, we can't have first person in cars because
we did have some intent for third person.
Okay.
Like in 2017, that version of the game that had third person.
Right.
We had it, yeah. But then I think we ran into issues where, because like the game itself was already hard design-wise to solve, building in first person, right? Like in 3D, right? So like other games like Factory where you're just top down, versus us where we're 3D, we have different design problems to solve. And it was actually really, really tough to solve those problems in first person. And switching to third person changes that again. And we have to like solve those problems again. It really, really isn't easy. And I think at some point we were like, okay, we're not going to deal with third person. We're just going to focus on first person so we can move on with the game and see, because like we need to, is the game any good? We have to finish the game, you know? But you know, maybe it makes sense that we can work on that again. We'll see.
Okay. All right. I guess that's it for the satisfactory questions. One question from me. Which games are you playing? I know, Snutt, you dabbled in, what was this, Metroid?
Yeah, I finished Metroid Dread. And I'm going to start playing it hardcore or whatever. Start speedrunning it.
I'm going to play it hardcore.
Yeah. No, the movement mechanic in Metroid Dread is like probably the best player controller I've ever used. It's insanely good.
Yeah. I voted for hardcore, by the way, on Twitter,
so close. Too many people. Yeah, but it's like it's insane how like the speedrunning community has just picked up that game and just completely like done things with it like so soon. Like it was just a couple of weeks after it was released, people already like found super cool strats, and the fact that like some parts of that game was inaccessible unless you sequence broke it and speedrun it.
Really?
Was also pretty cool. Yeah, there's a boss in that game that you can like completely kill in one shot if you sequence break it. So that was intentionally put in there. So it's really cool to see that stuff.
Okay. Oh, and Jace, what are you playing?
So I'm playing RuneScape these days, baby. Yeah, get that fishing up. Yeah,
old school RuneScape.
Old school RuneScape. Okay, that was my
question. But I'm excited to play. Like, there's a game that I like. Oh my god, I want to play it, but I'm waiting till I go on vacation in December.
Yeah, it's Mario Golf.
Mario Golf.
No, it's called Lost Judgment. If you guys know the Yakuza franchise,
yeah,
it's a spin-off. It's a sequel of a spin-off from the Yakuza franchise, and I cannot. It's out, and I just want to play it, but I want an entire week where no one talks to me, and it's just me in my underwear playing that game with like chips on the side. You know what I mean? I cannot wait. That's what I'm looking forward to.
That was me with Dread. I didn't want to like. It came out like during when we were working on the video. It's like I'm not gonna like touch that game until I'm like.
Wait till you take your week off. And then
exactly.
But you're not playing any MMOs like, I don't know, Lost Ark, New World, something like this.
No. RuneScape's an MMO.
Yeah, I mean, okay, RuneScape.
Yeah. So I'm playing that. I played New World for a while, and then I was like, I stopped and thought. I was like, what am I getting from this game? And I realized that I personally was not getting anything from that game. So I moved on. It was weird. I was watching, like, I stopped playing it after I got to like level 40, and then I went on a Discord call a couple weeks later with my friends, and I was watching them play, and they were like 56, and they were doing exactly what I was doing at level 40. Also, what I was doing at level 20. They were still looting the same chests with the same zombies.
Oh God.
And I was glad that I got out.
I am level
The game
9.
looks good though, and it's early. You know, it's still early. Like we'll see what it develops into. It does a lot of things really well, but yeah, I ran to RuneScape, my comfort place after
Okay.
that.
RuneScape.
Yeah. There was someone asking something about building circles, by the way.
Oh,
Can you build a circle? They asked a few times. I thought I might just answer before we leave.
yeah, sure,
Can you
sure,
build
sure.
circles like with the old method, like with the shell-bound circles. So I don't really know. I think I remember shell-bound circles was like,
With the frame rate, right? With
yeah,
so
exactly. And you have to like, yeah, exactly. And you use like the menu or something. Oh, I can't remember what it was to.
It's
I'm
like
not
you
sure.
press, when you bring up the hologram, you quickly hit
That's
it
it.
before it snapped into the position.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you get that for
I don't know if we've done anything specifically to stop that. I don't see why we would have, but like there is now the ability to use control to do fine rotation on foundations, and hopefully that will help anyways.
And
So-
there's also 45-degree rotation now on the foundations, so you can actually kind of do exactly what they were doing with that technique in game now.
what is the lowest degree where you can turn the foundations? Because I had a question.
It's 5.
It's 5?
I think
Okay.
it's 5 degrees. I'm pretty sure.
Because there was a question if you can bring it down to 1. So you have to, I don't know.
You mad lads.
Yeah, oh, you're
Yeah,
pushing
well,
it.
Yeah, really pushing it.
Yeah, I mean QA side, I guess, right? Let us know that you want it. You know, I mean, Snutt and I now know that some people want it, but you know, everyone who wants it should let all the folks at Coffee Stain know by going to the QA site and making a post there and upvoting it.
All right, guys, you hear it? QA side is the thing. All right.
Questions.satisfactory.game.com. There you are. Check the link exactly.
Check the link. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you, Nonchef, for posting it. All right, guys, it's 1 hour 40 minutes. I really don't want to take much more of your time. Thank you so much for stopping by. And
Thanks for having us, man.
Thanks for having us.
yeah, I had a lot of fun. Thanks for answering all those questions, bearing with my horrible English, and then
Your English is great, dude. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
No, your
okay,
English is
thank you,
fine.
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
So maybe next update again, and we see you at the dev stream every Tuesday, right? And to the chat, you know, post your feature requests and bugs at questions.satisfactorygame.com. Guys, I
Thanks
wish you a
for
wonderful
having us.
evening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any final words, Jace? Do you have any closing marks?
I don't.
Yes, you do.
Vamonos!
No,
Thank
damn it.
you.
Oh, is that the right
All
one?
right.
Crab boss, a crab enemy.
Big crab.
Boss. Crab boss coming. All right.
Crab
You got a vamonos anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
Good luck.
Vámonos.
All right. Thanks
Thank
a lot,
you.
man.
Have a great time. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.